arrived in my village. Now I'm going to make my way back. Sun's a bit bright here, I can't see anything. Being blinded. Very bright. Ah, should have right my eyes that. I'm leg. Done one ADHD pills, made me half dopey. I feel like going to sleep. Got to go easy on them now. I only got 20. Supposed to get about 80. Blinded by the light there. That's my ASD causing that. Sensitive to light. A couple more days being 53. Yeah. I've got a numb right leg. I've no idea why. I'll have to check that out. I just uploaded a short, I must say. Anyway, about 5 minutes away from my home. I'm going to sit down, have a nice smoke and a nice cup of coffee. How about that? Or maybe a cold drink. Yeah, I feel a bit doped up. Not smoked anything, but I feel doped up. It's my medication. Normally when I take my second tablet I wake up a bit, but luckily there was the bus that came a bit earlier, so I didn't have to wait. Quite warm out here. Until the sun goes down, then it'll be pretty cold. I've noticed the evenings as well are drawing in now. Gets dark quite early. But I suppose you've only got to get to next month, and then the clocks move around anyway. Autumn. Then winter will be upon us. It's been quite a nice summer though. Can't complain about the heat. Probably going to be a really cold winter. Saying that, I'm used to it all now. Do a bit of winter camping. Yeah, get a nice winter tent, nice 4-season tent. Take it out, test it out. Get me weeded bin in. Yeah, I'll have to ring the chemist back to see whether they can get the rest of me tablet. She reckons she did try on the computer, but it said there weren't none now. But I'll see if I try again. I've got 20 of them, so it ain't too bad. Again, I do 9 of them a day, so what's that? That's going to last 2 days. But I'll have to call them back. And if they can't get them in, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll have to try another chemist up further away. They did say there's beginning to be a shortage of like medication, but it's the first time it's affected me. It's warm in here. Lots of other people with ADHD have told me about the medication shortage, but it's not affected me until now. The only way it affected me was when I couldn't get my 20mg tablets, and all they ended up doing was giving me loads of 5mg tablets, which was a bit of a mouthful when you've got to do 4 5mg doses. I've got to sit down, guys. Before one falls down. Where's that light bulb there? Couldn't even be bothered to turn the light off last night properly. It's completely done me. Do excuse me while I get my breath back. Wow. Quarter to 6, eh? Oh, just too hot in here. In fact, I'm just going to go out here, get out of these trousers, get into these shorts, I think. I'm just going to put this up here, look. Wow. Far too hot for me. So I'm still here, just about. Get concentrated off. Right. Absolutely knackered. Where's my tobacco? There's my tobacco, look, up there. Tell you what, I feel like just going to sleep. I've had so much sleep the last few days. Probably it doesn't help that I ain't had no meds for it. Every now and again I have a couple of days off the meds, and that's what I've just done. Wakey, wakey. Rise and shine. Oh. Gotta check on my emails. A few days behind everything, man, I am. Right. A bit of roach material. Original packet, that would do. Got something special here, man. Have a blast on this. Oh. I'll get into it. Right. I'm going to need something to slice that off with. What's he slicing up, you're saying? This gets really stoned, man. This is like crystals. Quite expensive though. As it's my birthday, I thought, yeah, I'll get myself some of that. It's okay, guys. I'm not on the crack or the heroin. On that. Bit like shatterweed, a little bit. And you don't need a lot of it. Basically, sprinkling it in like that, and it just blows your brain off. Yeah, that costs quite a bit though for an 8 for that. And also got a little bit of weed just for the birthday. But that stuff, that yellow stuff there, that's like proper crystals. Comes in a big yellow squidgy ball. And basically, that amount that I've got in now, you could halve that amount and still get completely stoned out your box. Believe it or not. Yeah, it's a little bit like shatterweed, if anyone's had that. But it's just all the THC, it's just basically pure THC crystals, all just mushed together. But yeah, that's quite a bit for an 8 for that. But saying that, if you bought an 8 for that and an 8 for weed, obviously that'd cost a lot more money, but it'll last a lot longer. You don't need a lot of that. Obviously it affects everyone different. Obviously I've got my ADHD in that. You know what I mean? It might make me all active, but it might put you to sleep. Anyway, Got a nice text earlier from me pal. Got some of that stuff he was after. Boom. Which is why I'm a bit dopey. I got straight up and I thought I've got to get some of that for the birthday weekend. Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, what else can I get? I can get very good edible things, all THC. I can get the juice for the vapes. That's pure THC. That blasts your nut off. I remember the first time I went in my mate's, he was there with his cousin. And he said, "Oh, go on this, Phil." And I was just blasting away, man. And I was fucking done. Yeah. But this yellow stuff. It's probably one of the best things I've smoked. Apart from Northern Lights crossed with Purple Haze. And that weed was purple, bright purple. And no lie, it blew your nut off, man. That was Purple Haze crossed with Northern Lights. That's the best weed I've ever smoked. Yeah. I've only ever had that once. Yeah. That's what he didn't have. He didn't have any squidgy. Squidgy black. Red seal. Or you can get gold seal, which is also kind of squidgy. But the proper squidgy black is the red seal. But you get gold seal as well. Golf ball and all that sort of malarkey. I suppose there's people that smoke it and they're as old as me will know what I'm on about. Oh. Just a weed channel. Nah, there'll always be the music channel, even though I'm on here blasting on my spliffs, chatting loads of bollocks. There'll always be a music channel, people. Yeah, what are we on now? 918, I think. Get to the 1,000. I could get to the 1,000 tomorrow if I wanted to. You can actually buy subscribers, believe it or not. But I can honestly say I've not bought anybody. Everybody's come here of their own accord. They've obviously seen me on here playing records or chatting and joined that way. So it's totally organic, the channel. Kind of defeats the object, really, buying 100 subscribers. Do you know what I mean? It kind of just defeats the whole object for me. That would mean I would have 100 subscribers that wouldn't even know anything about my channel. Do you know what I mean? I need to get people to come here of their own accord. Like maybe they've heard me playing Madness and thought, what's that? Or the specials or whoever. Or just talking about stuff. And they come in that way and that's the way I go about it. Yeah. But I can see how people are tempted to buy subscribers, but it seems a bit weird to me. But I think what the algorithm does, it searches for people that are into two-tone and then projects them towards me. I think that's the way it must work. But we're not going down that route. I can remember when I got to 100 subscribers, I thought, wow, I've got 100 subscribers. And then you get 200, and then 300, and then 400. And then you get little messages from YouTube saying, yeah, you're doing all right, keep going. So I just kept going. Here I am, 918. Which would be quite mad. When we get to 1,000, who knows? I'm giving away some special prizes. And all you subscribers are quite welcome to unsubscribe and then subscribe back in to try and get the prize. Basically, once we get to about 990, I'll then put videos out. Little prize we're going to get, the 1,000th person is going to get a two-tone related prize. And not And I know I've got all my usual subscribers and viewers out there. You'll be able to come in and come out. Or I might change it and do it a different way, the thing. But we're going to have some kind of prize for the 1,000th subscriber. But as I said, I don't want to rule all the people out that have been watching me for a long time. But yeah, mad, eh? But to be honest, music channels are the hardest to make work on YouTube. But it can be done, as I'm proving. Been a long time since I had some of this. Got to catch up with all my paperwork and all my admin and that now. Got a social worker that's just disappeared. Go on a mission, man, they do. Supposed to be helping you and they just disappear. Fucking crazy. I just feel sorry for all them out there who are not in a position like me, who are in a position where they've got serious learning problems. And they've probably got social services going, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And they're probably screwing their brains up, man. I kind of understand. I ain't got no learning problems. Basically, my diagnosis is what's called high functioning, so I understand it. If I'm interested in it, I'll be into it. If I'm not interested, I won't be into it. I've got to say, it does rule your life. Saying that, life is better being diagnosed than on the meds. Being my age, all you older people out there, no doubt some of you watching this have probably got ADHD. In fact, I'll put money on it. I'll put all my two-tone collection on it. That somebody who watches this video will have ADHD. And they'll probably think to themselves, I might have ADHD. Yeah, I've definitely got subscribers that come across a little bit ADHD-ish. But yeah, I think once you've been diagnosed, it's then quite easy to spot people who've got it. Because you've all got the same kind. There's about 8 different traits with ADHD. There's 8 different bit parts that you've got to fulfill. But if you don't fulfill some parts, it doesn't mean you don't have ADHD. Because you could have ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, which is just not paying attention, which is basically ADHD without the hyperactiveness. But obviously, I've got the hyperactiveness with mine. Is there a lot of help out there? Not really. All they do, right? I spoke to a few people that hit crisis point, which I hit quite a bit. You ring up like to get some help, and there is no help out there, man. All they do is put you in front of the psychiatrist, who then turns around and says, "Well, you've educated me there. I know nothing about ADHD because it's not in their remittance. It's not in a. It's not It's not a mental health issue. ADHD. It's a neurological brain disorder. So why they roll me out in front of the fucking psychiatrist, I've got no idea. Are you hearing noises? Are you hearing voices? Are you seeing things? I've said, no, I'm not hearing nothing. The only time I've ever seen anything is when I've been on acid, tripping me bollocks off. That's what I tell them, which is the truth. Yeah. I guess if you were seeing things, and I think that's for the what is it called? What's that mental health disorder? What's it called, man? Where you're one person 1 minute and you're someone else the next. I forget there's a word for it. But ain't none of them. I was diagnosed with depression years ago, but I think that was just due to the undiagnosed ADHD. Yeah, the only reason I ask you if you're hearing things is what is that disorder? What's that mental health disorder where you hear things and that? I can't think what it's called. Anyone in the chat? Anyone watching this? Help me out there. What's that disorder called? Where they're 1 minute you're one person and the next you're another. You can be like Mr. Nice and then you could be Mr. Killer. I forget what it's called, man. That's going to do my nutting now. Major psychiatric disorder. I forget what it's called, man. The kiddie in Addo that murdered a couple of people, he had that. But he didn't take his meds. Come to me in a minute. Got to plug the battery in. Trying to think. Does it begin with a P? Schizophrenia. Schizophrenic. A schizophrenic. That's it. Yeah, the people that have got schizophrenia, they hear things and all that. Do you know what I mean? They're proper, about coming across derogatory, proper off their nuts, like in another world. Yeah, that's why they ask if you're hearing things. I think if you say, yeah, I'm hearing things and seeing things, they come around and scoop you up. Yeah, but I don't hear things, I don't see things. Crazy, eh? Crazy world we live in. Crazy country we live in at the moment. Got the big march this month. September's upon us. Going to be marching up London. Going to be playing the two-tone. Taking some music with us. Decided I'm taking music with me. Might get a few subscribers along the way. Doing a live. That should be quite amusing. And no, I'm not in Tommy Robinson's army, and I'm not on the left side, and I'm not on the right side. I'm just marching for Charlene Downs, who was putting the kebabs, basically. But yeah, I believe there's a lot of opposition going from other whatevers, but I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep out of the way of them, but they might want to get in the way of me, do you know what I mean? Who knows? But it's all good. I believe there's millions going. And what people are marching for is because people have had enough. People have had enough of the government's bullshitting. Each one of them, Labour, no matter who. I've seen people going, get Labour out. Yeah, get Labour out. Who are you going to get in? Eh? Who are you going to get in? Another bullshitter. So stop shouting out, get Labour out, until you've got somebody reasonable to put in there, because they're all fucking shit. They're all going to rob you. Simple as that. They're all going to bullshit to you. There's not an honest fucking politician out there. But yeah, people have had enough now. Obviously, you've got the hotels and what's going on. I think that's what's pushed people over the limit. The fact that nobody's got anything. The government is swearing blind that we spent all the money. And it's due to disabled people. We're going to cut your money. And yeah, you old age pensioners that have paid in all your life who are sitting there freezing, we're going to take some of your fucking winter payment away. Yet we got open doors with all these boat people. They're going straight in the hotels, getting iPhones, getting everything, man, laid on. That ain't right, man. And that's why there's so much, that's why it's kicking off. And that's why a majority of people are going to London, because they've had enough of people getting more than them, and when they're illegals. They're not even honest people that have come in an honest way. Before the old people start shouting out racist or whatever, far from it. These people come in the proper way and had the proper documentation, then come on in, do you know what I mean? Come on in. But they're not, they're all just blagging it. And people are just letting it happen. What happens then when and to be honest, yeah, these are people that we've bombed out of their homes. So what happens then once you've got so many of them here and they want to kick off? I'll tell you what happens, we'll be fucked. And the reason, excuse my English, we'll be fucked because we've let too many in. And I ain't got a problem with letting people in, the real ones. I've seen some real ones from China. I've seen some real ones from the Ukraine. All them lot. All them not coming out of Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, they're all just blaggers, man. If you was coming in the right way and you had nothing to hide, you'd come in legally, wouldn't you? You wouldn't come in illegally in a boat. The reason they're coming in illegally on a boat is because they're getting everything. Do you know what I mean? They're not stupid. I think people have just had enough. Crazy, eh? Like how much is all them costing? I wouldn't even like to estimate an amount. How much does it cost someone, right, to keep someone in a hotel all week long, all food and that laid on? I think they're getting 80 quid straight in their pocket, just like spending money. They ain't got to spend that on anything, have they? Because, and another thing, they're all gathering in kiddies' parks, man. They caught a couple of them noncing on kids. Do you know what I mean? You find a lot of them come out of these hotels and they congregate in the children's parks. I've seen people filming them, saying, "What are you doing in here? Look, there's all kids in here, little kids." Do you know what I mean? Why are they congregating in the children's parks? People need to ask these questions because it's very strange, in my opinion. But yeah, I think about. I won't say that because I don't know the correct amount, but I know that quite a few people have been raped and that by them. And I'm not saying there ain't English people out there raping people. You know what I mean? There's sickos in every fucking religion. But these people, you read the Quran, that Muhammad or whoever writ it, he's a nonce, man. It's a proper nonce book. About what you can do to your wife and fucking you can have sex with kids at 7 and you can get married at 11 and it's a real nonce book, man. I'm sorry if any people are out there, any Muslims, but real Muslims. But it is a bit of a nonce book. And that's coming from someone who's got no real, I ain't got no religious beliefs. I believe in evolution. But yeah, that's proper twisted, man. A book that's telling you that it's all right to have sex with kids. Do you know what I mean? That's twisted, if you ask me. Very twisted. And your wife, there's 2 or 3 different religions where you have to cover your face up. If a female has to cover their face up, there's 2 or 3 religions that do that. Which is just pure evil, isn't it, really? And that all boils down to where they want to degrade the woman, they did. They want to sort of degrade the woman, cover your face up. Do you know what I mean? You're nobody. So that's why all the women are all walking around covered up. When really, they should be proud of, they're probably some beautiful women, do you know what I mean, under them veils. Do you know what I mean? I put money on there is. Yet they're all covered up because their religion is just designed to fucking make them inferior. And obviously, if you've been brainwashed into that as a little kid, you're just going to go with the flow, aren't you? But yeah. And look what happened in Afghanistan when they first freed it and that. All them young girls was coming out, ripping their things off. We want to go to school. Do you know what I mean? They're stopping them going to school, getting educated, cover your face up. Do you know what I mean? They was all ripping it off. We want to go to school now. Do you know what I mean? Because really, these young girls, they're dying for an education. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to be in a marriage where they're just fucking being dictated to. Do you really think they're in for that? I don't. Probably upsetting a lot of the old Muslim crew out there, the ones that are deep into it, but I don't care how deep you are into it, man. You ought to get a bit deep into your book because it's a bit noncy. I'll tell you that much. Anything that's telling you it's right to have sex with kids and marry them at about 12 is wrong. I don't care what religion you're in. It's fucking human nature in it to know that that's wrong. Do you know what I mean? And you got the geezers that writ the Quran. He was, 43 or something when he read the Quran. I'm not just spurting shit, guys. I've got educated on this because I thought, well, what's in that? And I'll tell you what's in it, all nonsense stuff. Anyway, he was about 43 and he first got with her when she was 9. and obviously he's noncing her then, and then he married her when she was about 11. How would you feel if your 11-year-old daughter come home and she was going to get married to a 43-year-old fella? I know most men would go round and rip his bollocks off, man. And I'd do the same, mate. But people that are, it's just wrong, man. Sick. That's what I think. Sorry to go on a religious one here, but it's all true, people. It's all true. Proper nonce book, man. Imagine that, man. Your daughter coming home. Oh, here's me new fella, Dad. He's 43. Fucking hell. Take a bullet to the man, wouldn't you? Or anyone might do that. Not that I'm saying go and do that, but yeah. Twisted, isn't it? Very twisted. That's how they can have like 10 wives and all that. Do you know what I mean? Because their book says they can do that. They can abuse women. We won't just abuse one woman. We'll abuse 5 or 6, man. We'll marry them all. We'll get them all covered up. We'll have one for every day of the week. That's what they do, man. And some of them have got a wife for every day of the week, man. Very, very twisted. Believe it in that bollocks. And obviously they want to suppress the women getting educated. Forbid it that women ever got educated, do you know what I mean? But what they don't realise is some of them women under them veils are already clued up, man. They're just waiting for the moment to be freed. But yeah, Muhammad was a nonce. There you go. I said it right there. What is a nonce for all you foreign viewers? A sex offender? A paedophile? What else are we calling them? Lots of things. I suppose the worldwide term in English would be paedophile. But if you live in Britain, call them a nonce. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing. Or I believe in America, is it a chomo? Yeah, you're a chomo if you're in America. I think the first time you land in American jail, they come up and get, are you a chomo? I think, what the fuck's a chomo, bruv? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, chomo. If you say, yeah, I'm a chomo, that's it, man. And what they also do in America, let me see your papers. They think you're a bit iffy, let me see your paperwork. You ain't got no paperwork, you're a chomo. Yeah, that's the American term for it. But obviously, American jails are a lot different. You got different gangs and that in there, like the skinhead area. That's what they'd probably think I was, but obviously I'm not. The Aryan Brotherhood and all that, all them Nazi people, I'm not belong to that. I'm a rude boy from the two-tone movement. Boom, put that on them. They go, what? Yeah, anyway, that's the American jail. It's not like I've ever been in one. Not that it'd bother me. I think the only time you've got to worry if you're going in an American jail or in a jail overseas is if you've been you're a chomo. You know what I mean? If you've been doing the wrong crimes, then you'll probably get sorted out. A lot of them prisons, you go sort of your Mexican prisons and you get further afield. It's just like the prisoners run the place. Do you know what I mean? You're all in a big cage, and yeah, that's how it goes. But, imagine that, getting in American Nick, not knowing what a chomo was. You got all your cellmates getting round you. Are you a chomo? You think, fucking chomo, what's that? Crazy. But yeah, a few crimes are not tolerated in there. I don't know what the Muslim situation is in America, but I know in Britain they're kind of trying to take over the prisons, trying to get all the youngsters to convert. But when I was in jail, none of that was going on like that. And to be honest, I wouldn't convert. They come in my cell and said, all right, Phil, we want to convert you. I'd say, out the door, son. Do you know what I mean? You're getting out the door, or I'm going to get out and move you out the door. One of them two. There's no way. I'd rather take a good beating, man. I'd rather take a good old beating than join their Muslim gang. That's my motto. But then again, every time I've gone in prison since I was 17, I went in there with the mental attitude is what I had then was no screws are going to be touching me. That's a prison officer for any of our overseas viewers or any convicts. The first place I was a young offenders. I thought, well, I ain't going to let anybody touch me, and I never did. And that's the motto I stand by now. But yeah, apparently they're going in. Obviously, prisons you can cook your own food and that now, and they've gone into people who like their bacon sandwiches and said you ain't cooking bacon sandwiches anymore. Well, I hate to say it, but I love crispy bacon sandwiches, and nobody's going to come between me and my crispy bacon. I'll tell you what, if they came in my cell and said stop cooking that crispy bacon, I'd make their face look like fucking crispy bacon, mate. And that's what's happening. It's all, get some people like me that ain't having it, and some who are just that scared and intimidated. You imagine if you'd first been in prison and you got them getting on you straight away. Do you know what I mean? I could imagine that. I can imagine it's pretty scary. But yeah, no bacon. Fuck that. Crazy, eh? Glad I ain't in there now. I'll be down the block, man. The block's where you go for punishment. But yeah, I'd be down the block, I think. But don't get me wrong, I'll keep my head down. I'll just keep my head down, keep myself to myself. But I've heard that all the Muzzy gangs and that get on you. So even if you're keeping your head down, they're still going to get on you. Yeah. But I suppose that depends how you come across. When you first walk onto the landing with your blankets and all that, and everyone looks round, you can either be intimidated as fuck and shit in your pants, and I wouldn't blame people that did that, or you can just think, right, fuck these cunts, which was my attitude. I thought, well, fuck all you lot, do you know what I mean? Whatever you're doing to me, I can do to you with bells on. That was my attitude, so I just went in there and didn't really give a fuck. But I suppose it also depends where you've come from and what life you've led. Obviously, when I was growing up, I grew up out on the street there, running around, doing crazy stuff. And that put me in very good stead for the young offenders, because I knew what it was like to have a little row or whatever. But you get some posh kids, because you get them all in there, you get a posh kids that's never had a fight, never had a bit of bother, and he gets in there, that mean he won't know what to do. Whereas if you come from the streets out there, you're going to know, yeah, this geezer wants a row, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the posher people are not like that. But yeah, I can imagine how scary that would be. Don't get me wrong, I've been in some scary situations in there where I thought, fucking hell, this is a bit hairy. But I got through it. Yeah. But as I say, I've never been in there with all the muzzies saying stop your bacon and all that shit. You got to convert, you know what I mean? Fuck that. Been converting to nothing. The only thing that's going to be converted is your face, mate, when I go off my bed. If you don't get out of my cell, that's about it. Because they just walk in, they just boom, they're in your cell. Fuck that. But yeah, lots of fighting in there, and you also get the black dudes. You get your Caribbean fellas. They team up with the white fellas. So you kind of got your black people when they're picking on the Muslim, the sort of white British kid. The black dudes step in and go ahead, like fucking, and help the white people out. You got they kind of teamed up. And that's all your Jamaicans, your Yardies, and people like that. It don't matter where you're from. If you're from Jamaica and you're a bit of a Yardie or whatever, if you're from the streets, from the fucking, you know what I mean, from the road, from the paths, you're gonna not conform to what they're saying. But yeah, waffled on there, haven't we? We're only halfway through my joint. People would probably think, well, that yellow stuff's powerful. No, that's the truth though. That's how it is at the minute. Crazy, eh? Prison doesn't work anyway. when I first went to prison, you had a bucket, mate. You did your number ones and number twos in it. There weren't no fucking tellies. To be honest, they should whip them tellies straight out of their cells. No one's going to learn a lesson like that. Yeah, I had 4 walls and a pot to piss and do the number twos in. Pretty. It was pretty barbaric, really, considering I was only 17. But I suppose because I've been through the worst kind of system back then, it don't really faze me now. I suppose it's experiences. But yeah, TVs, Game Boys, fucking Nintendos, whatever they are. You know what I mean? How's anyone going to learn? You need to take all that off them. That's my opinion. Even though being in there is a punishment on its own. No, and I'll say that now. Being in there is a punishment on its own. The fact that you ain't with your mates or family, or you ain't sitting at home on your own. Do you know what I mean? The fact that you're sitting in jail, it is a bit. That's a punishment in itself, I think. But the way I look at it, the more gruesome you make it, the more they ain't going to want to come back. Do you know what I mean? You don't want it. You don't want it to be too nice, and that's how it's got now. It's got all nice. It weren't nice in my day, man. You landed down in fucking Hollesley Bay. That's where the Essex boys met. I was in there about. What was I in there about? I spent my 18th birthday in there. I was about 4 or 5 years before them Essex boys got there. I was there. But then again, someone said I might have been locked up with Pat Tate, but I didn't come across him. But I don't know how big he was then. But yeah, in my day it was quite brutal. You didn't want to go back. Do you know what I mean? But now it's become too cushy. They're treating them all with cotton wool gloves. I think that's where quite a lot of it to do as well is with. All right, Alan, how you doing, mate? A lot of it's to do with the fact that your mum or your dad can't give you a clip round the ear anymore. When I was a kid, your old man would give you a good old whack. And I think most of the kids I grew up with, my pals, was also getting a good old whack. Do you know what I mean? It was quite common then for your mum or your dad or even your gran to give you a good old whack for being naughty. But obviously, take care, mate. All the best to you. Obviously, you can't do that now. So back in my day, if you was doing something naughty, you knew, oh, dad catches me. Or your mum would say, you wait till your dad gets home. You know what I mean? You knew you was in for something. Whereas now, what is there? There's no punishment. There's no anything. So what are the consequences of teenagers doing naughty stuff? Nothing. There are no consequences. And that's where it's... And don't get me wrong, there's a big line between giving your kid a little like wallop to behave yourself and child abuse. There's a big difference. I mean, beating the bollocks out of your kid is child abuse. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say just whopping your kid round the arse if he's being proper naughty is. But then I grew up with that kind of punishment being whopped out, dished out to you. When I was at primary school, the headmaster could give you a good beating. Do you know what I mean? Not that I'm saying that's right, but it was a deterrent and it did make people behave. Just look at it now out there. There's no consequences for these people doing stuff. What should they do? Who knows? I think the whole system's too broken now to be fixed, I believe. Anyway, I'm on 59%. I've been on here 50 minutes. let's plug in the battery. Big old power bank. Every YouTuber, well, if you're a live YouTuber like me, you're going to need a power bank. Obviously, I do the majority of mine live. Well, yeah. I can't even say 99% of them live, be more than that. Very rarely do I actually upload a video. But then again, I kind of like to interact with what's going on, the people out there. Obviously, if I was uploading a video once a week, all you'd be really is replying to comments, but obviously I like to go live. I think a lot of them as well are a bit worried about trolls and stuff like that, but as you've seen on here, we just embrace you trolls. Every troll is a subscriber, right there. People that are getting offended by trolls shouldn't have a YouTube channel. If you're offended easily, don't run a YouTube channel. Crazy, eh? $51, look. I think it's time to whack a record on soon. In fact, I've been sorting out all my records. Yeah, I think we're going to fire the decks up later. I'll charge my phone right up. We'll be back for an hour of who knows, specials, madness, and whoever else we pull out of the bag. Bit of UB40. If I'm awake. So it's this spliff, this yellow stuff, man. Just knocks your head off. So no, I'm still in the game now. Obviously, it affects ADHD differently. What you might find is if you think you've got ADHD, you're a weed smoker. If you've ever sort of gone around with a group of your mates and that, and you've been out partying, you've gone back to your pal's house, you're all having a smoke, everyone's just zonking right out, except you've had a smoke and you've come alive. If that's you, you've probably got ADHD. That's why my little gang that I went around with, I'm sure, at least one of them has got had ADHD, because we all used to get back from the parties, get on the smoke, and everyone was just mullered. People were falling asleep everywhere. And there's me and a few of my pals who come alive, and we were just building bongs and just doing mad stuff. But I should have thought they've got something. Not that they've been diagnosed yet. But, yeah, weird ADHD, but it all makes sense. I never really enjoyed drinking. I preferred smoking weed and smoking puff. In fact, I told my ADHD doctor that during my undiagnosed years, which was 50 years, until I got diagnosed, the weed and smoke was a very good friend to me. It enabled me to do things, got me quite proactive. But then I've learned that it obviously affects my brain differently. It's creating dopamine, which is the chemical that in your brain that helps you focus, concentrate, be happy, which is what people with ADHD lack, is dopamine. It's like a chemical imbalance in the brain. And what weed does is creates more dopamine. Um, yeah, weed don't work. It's like the meds they got me on speed. When I first learned about ADHD, when my doctor first said go home and learn about it, I couldn't believe it when I saw that they was giving them amphetamines. I thought, what? Speed? Then I've come from a naughty background, do you know what I mean? If I hadn't come from a naughty background, I wouldn't even know what speed or amphetamine was. Um, but it does change your life. Uh, Bit deep conversation, this one. What we covered: ADHD, religion, prisons. Wow. I think my ADHD medication's kicking in. Seem a bit more awake. Bit gutted I could only get 8 tablets. That's going to right. Where did I put that? There. That's going to do me nut right in when I run out of them. If they can't order no more in. I wonder if I went into London whether I could get them. I suppose the best thing would be to ring around loads of chemists. I can only get, this is what I'm on. Dexamphetamine. I'll take 3 of them tablets a day. 've only got 20 tablets, so might do as little as I can of them. I've got these other ones, which are the capsules, which are slow release 8-hour things, which it doesn't really agree with me. That's why they put me on these instant ones. This is the most powerfulest one you can get, which works for me. But I only got 20 pills, and I'm supposed to get about 80 something. Um, 59%. Hopefully that's charging up. Anyway, I'm going to charge my phone and I'll be back with some music.